For more exclusive content from CNBC Crypto Trader, hit the subscribe button now.
Crypto Trader is proudly brought to you by Element, a full-service investment bank for the digital token capital markets.
The Rothschilds were the godfathers of the traditional banking system. So it seems pretty apt that we start the second part of our Israel coverage right here on Rothschild Boulevard. This week we're going to get into the meat of things. We're going to see the projects in Israel and go and play in the sandbox for institutional investment. This is an episode you don't want to miss, so stay tuned. If you've been watching Crypto Trader lately, you'll see that we're one of the few outlets covering everything crypto related. We examine conferences, influencers, ICOs, regulation, speculation, institutions, devs, code, and now, of course, blockchain use cases. This week, we see actual working products built using blockchain.
So,
before launch,
this is the lab.
You'll meet Moshe Hogeg and his Sirin Labs secretive cell phone.
Armed.
In a world exclusive, we'll debut the most eye-opening file compression software used building the blockchain. It'll make you think that Pied Piper may be real.
Unbelievable. Forget about the blockchain and the permissions and the tokens.
You'll see just how big and ever-expanding Etoro is. You'll meet Orbs high above Tel Aviv, Saga, a standard-setting stablecoin, and the much-talked-about ChromaWay project. You'll even find blockchain use cases in a UN Syrian refugee camp. This is part 2 of our coverage from Israel that's showing that we're in a serious build phase. So here is the blockchain in use, starting with Moshe Hogeg in his Tel Aviv tower. Moshe presides over Singularity, a fund that created Sirin Labs, secretively sculpting its upcoming crypto cell phone. You'll see his holdings cross with this Gotham-like skyscraper and a similar set of dots in his office.
So Moshe, when we asked who the biggest crypto investor in Israel was, all roads led here. So are you the biggest crypto investor in Israel?
It's a tricky question. I think my group and another group together are the biggest.
So how did you get involved in investing in crypto?
Yeah, so in our group we're managing a VC and we're very active, and one of the technologies that we studied and really liked was Ethereum. And when we decided to invest in Ethereum from the fund, we discovered that legally we're not allowed to do that, which was a shocking surprise to us. But because it's not an equity or any type of legal formal asset class, we reached this legal problem. So we thought, what can we do? We tried to get some way around it. We couldn't. Ended up being upset and investing privately in that. And the rest was history. You know, Ethereum went crazy up. We got involved in the technology. We started to invest a lot in the entire space. Yeah, and we're very happy about it.
When was this?
That was in the end of 16.
So Ethereum was around $5, $6, $7 back then?
$3, yeah.
So it goes all the way up to about $1,300.
Right.
And you guys start investing in other crypto-related assets.
Yeah.
As a fund, or?
In my technology group, we have now another fund or investment vehicle called Alignment. One of the first investments was Bancor. That was one of the firsts.
So you were one of the first investors in Bancor?
I think I was, yeah.
Okay. And what else have you been investing in? I mean, you're talking about a one year time span.
Yeah, we invested in many great projects, anyway from Telegram, EOS, Tezos, who else? You know, obviously Sirin, my company, which we think has a huge potential. But PumaPay, Endor.
Were you guys focused on Israeli projects, or was this a
worldwide
approach?
No, it was a worldwide approach. So, you know, we obviously being in Israel makes it easier for us to invest in Israeli projects. And there's few great ones. So Orbs is one that I extremely like. and I think there's a lot of potential to that. We were the first investor in Orbs.
So alignment, is alignment the crypto investment arm of the group?
Yeah, yeah.
Okay, and their investment thesis?
You know, we usually invest in seed stage. And seed stage is very special. It's very unique, very different from different stages. So you need to really analyze the team, the character, a lot of psychology, not only hard numbers. We're usually investing in infrastructure. So, you know, there will be a time and place for applications, but right now we're focusing on making it simple for the masses, on scalability, on B2B, and and a lot of user experience in investments.
So for a company who comes to you for investment and is actually successful in getting an investment from you, what can they expect from you guys?
A lot of business development, so working with different businesses, getting strategic partnerships with big companies. So we have few of them. You know, I know that Stoxx is now signing with HP on their prediction market. You know, Sirin has a bunch of them that will save the announcements for the launch. Orbs has a bunch of them. You know, PumaPay signed with Wix, signed with Pornhub. So, you know, there's a lot of meaningful strategic partnerships that are happening across the board.
Let's move on to some of the other projects that you're passionate about.
So I'm actually very passionate about, there's two projects that are actually anti-volatile. One of them is Saga.
Now, Saga is what? It's a stable coin?
Saga is a kind of a stable coin. It's actually a coin that is backed by SDR, which is a basket of fiat currencies. The team is, I think it's second to none. It's added by Ido Sadeh, which is, I think, the smartest guy I know.
Yeah. What about Stoxx?
So Stoxx is a prediction market. Prediction markets is something I think people should be excited about. It's something that should replace in the future insurance companies and betting companies. And Stoxx advantage over others would be in the user experience. You know, I think people should really take the time to look at the differences between other prediction markets to Stoxx and see the level of the user experience in this kind of project. If you look at our strategy as a whole, you will find that we always invest in things that take us one step closer for mainstream. If you look at wallets, so Sirin is all about user experience. Everything we do in Sirin is surrounding the user experience, which today is terrible. If, you know, people talk about scalability. If we don't fix the user experience, we shouldn't be worried about scalability because it won't be an issue. Trust me on that.
So let's talk about the cellular phone, because you sound very passionate about this project. It sounds like that's your baby, actually.
It is.
You guys raised a lot of money for that project. There's a lot of money on the line.
So you know, it's all relative. You know, you say a lot of money. If it was a software company, then the answer is yes, we raised a lot of money. If it's a hardware company, and it is, then the answer is actually no, we didn't raise a lot of money. You know what was the budget for Google Pixel camera? It was $200 million for the camera alone. Okay, so we raised 160 to create an entire company with the phone, with everything surrounding it.
What is the vision there? What is the vision of the Sirin phone?
We understood that we need to create something slightly different, slightly more secure and more easy to use than current phones and current dApps. So that was the goal of Sirin, to allow everyone to have a crypto wallet that is super secure, much more than what you have right now, but in the same time create a user experience that wouldn't need you to become a super geek in order to use and enjoy
the benefits.
The man in the street. So, you know, when we brought Leo Messi to become our presenter, it was all part of the same strategy of approaching the man in the street, not the crypto geeks. Now, Messi will help us get this product, Sirin, to the mass market. That is his goal. in this choice, in this case, right? So yeah, we're very excited about MEXC being with us.
Is the vision of Sirin Labs to eventually get cheap phones out into the market? Or
Yeah, 100%.
but
That's
you're
the
launching
main-
with quite an expensive phone. I mean, $1,000 phone is
It's a high-level phone.
Yeah.
It's in the level of prices of the Galaxy and the iPhone.
Yeah.
It's equivalent in the quality level if you look at the hardware and the software, plus the crypto wallet inside of it. But we have a slight, not a slight, actually a very nice surprise when you talk about price that we would announce in the day of the launch.
So what you're saying is don't buy your phone just yet, wait.
Just wait, wait a bit more. We have
Yeah.
a nice surprise for you.
After wrapping up with Moshe, we went a few floors down to get a sneak peek at the much anticipated Fini, a crypto-enabled cell phone. This is a crypto trader exclusive being unveiled for the first time by the project leads.
Hi. Hi.
How you doing?
I'm good. How are you?
Good, good. Nice
Welcome.
to see you again. Thank you.
Nice to see you too.
So is this where it all happens?
Yes, this is Sirin Labs. The more important and interesting stuff is around this area where the R&D team resides, and we have all the developers and the QA being done here. I can't show you too much because obviously these are our proprietary technologies. But this is the lab. This is where we test our technologies, and currently people are working on the cold storage wallet. So this is where we try to make the technological magic happens, ultra secure. And let me show you some more interesting stuff. So basically we are now here in the studio. So the Fini was designed here in the studio. We have very professional and capable product designers working here, and the studio is basically managing the brand guidelines in terms of the visuals. You can see also the legacy and the evolution, for example, of our first product. You can see where the Fini form factor came from.
Let's go sit down.
Yep,
Looks like you guys got yourself into a very big project here.
it is, and challenging.
So Nimrod, what was the vision when you guys came together and decided you're going to launch a phone with a wallet built into it?
So it relies on two main reasons. One, we already developed a very secure mobile device, the Solarin, that was launched back in May 2016. And two, that's the most used device in the world. Mobile phones, I don't know if you know, but there are 8 billion mobile devices in the world, while there are only 7.7 billion people in the world, while there are only 4 billion toothbrushes. So
there are more mobile phones in the world than toothbrushes in
Yes.
the world. So what am I looking at here?
So basically, you're one of the very few people, I would say the lucky people, to look at an almost final version of the Fini blockchain phone. Basically, this product is the product that's going to be released in a couple of months from now. You can see the curved edges, 6-inch edge-to-edge Gorilla Glass, with basically two main things. One is the wallet, and the other one is dCenter. dCenter is just like a Google Play. It's a
dApp store.
It's a dApp store. It's a dApp store and an educational center, but it also runs with a proprietary technology called the token conversion service. So basically, when you're going to go into our dApp store and education center, and you're going to browse through the recommended preloaded applications here, please, this is just placeholders and references. Don't look at it as the final version. The idea is that the user would not need to go into an exchange now and to obtain the specific token to be used in the dApp. The idea is that the token conversion service that we already developed will be the facilitator of this seamless, I would say, automatic experience.
And in this phone, there is a cold storage wallet built into the phone.
Yes, do you want to see it?
Yes. Where is the cold storage?
The surprise element, this is what we call the shield element, where the camera relies. There's also a fingerprint sensor here. But if you can see here, there's a very small thing that basically I slide and it would turn the wallet up. You see, we invite people to dive into crypto. I don't want to disclose too many features of the phone. So basically, the way that the phone is going to interact is with the safe screen, which is, this is a touch screen that you verify the transaction and the keys by pressing it. when it's slided into the regular mode, then the entire unit here is disconnected from power and any kind of communication protocols. It runs on a separate MCU, and there's also a proprietary solution of a firewall that basically makes the communication between the main system and the wallet system.
So how much will one of these cost?
So the end price would be around $1,000.
$1,000.
Yeah.
So it's certainly not a product which is going to land up in the hands of the millions and billions of Africans who want or who need blockchain for their day-to-day lives.
Unless, and this is something that, it's too early to discuss, the Sirin OS would be implemented in a $100 or $200 working mobile device.
Which would be a crypto-friendly,
Yes.
DApp-friendly
Yes.
operating system.
By the way, we're already working on it.
When can we expect to see this live on the shelves?
So by the end of this year, before Christmas, the Fini product will be on shelves.
How about you give our viewers 5 phones a week before you launch this phone?
We have a deal.
Okay. So there we go. If you want to get one of the 5 phones that I've managed to negotiate, and that's before the phone gets launched, you can find details on Twitter. Get me on Twitter, I'm CryptoManRun. Wow, that was a lot to take in. From encrypted cell phones to compressing files, we continue our product launches with Agada, one of our crypto trader contributors and correspondents. Introducing us to a new name you'll all know pretty soon, .play.
Play has created a new file type that allows not only to compress the file significantly, but also to control viewer rights.
Wow, sounds amazing.
You're gonna be blown away by this.
The tech behind this file compression is so groundbreaking that I had to break the ice with a game of pool before seeing the demo. So what is Play?
Play is a new file type that, in contrary to other file types, it allows end users and companies to achieve 3 major goals that cannot be achieved today. The first thing is that Play can contain every type of digital data under a single file format. The second thing is, the second thing is that Play can actually take every type of data and reduce it to a fragment of its size. So for example, whenever you choose to take a video and convert it into the Play file format, so let's say that video weighs 2 gigabytes, after you convert it into the .play file format, it will be reduced to something like 20 kilobytes.
And is this a reality? I mean, is this actually working today?
Yes, it is. It is.
So why do you need the blockchain?
Okay, so the thing that I haven't mentioned until now is that these files can be controlled and modified at any given time. So, for example, let's say you have a document, or you have a picture, or you have a film that you send to someone you know. And all of a sudden you notice that, okay, this is not what I meant, or I meant to send it to someone else, or I don't trust this guy like too much, and you want to restrict his ability to watch, to copy that file, to distribute it. So basically what we needed to do, we needed to utilize blockchain in order to in order to establish a digital ownership of digital assets. But the second thing is the decentralization, that it will significantly reduce our operating and maintenance costs. It actually provides end users with a stronger sense of trust.
So are you guys doing a token sale?
Yes. Yes, we do. Indeed.
And how much money are you raising?
Currently, we are raising $50 million, while the soft cap is $10 million.
And have you raised any money already?
Yes.
Should we go and see a demo? Let's go.
Sure, let's do this.
Okay, here we have 2 standard files, and we have a video file.
So how big is the file that we're looking at now?
Okay, it's 90 megabytes. It's a move file and a trailer, The Incredibles,
Okay.
which just came out that too.
And are you going to reduce this file?
Yeah, I'm going to convert it into a play file, and it's going to be reduced dramatically. So let's see. I'm going to drag it in. This is our platform. And now when it's uploading, I'm going to choose how many times I want the person I'm sending it to open the file, to be able to open the file, and how long I want him or she to watch it. Put on 30 minutes. I turn on acceleration, which utilizes the GPU instead of CPU.
So it took 10 seconds to compress the file.
Yeah.
How big is the new file?
The new file is 472 bytes.
So you reduced 90 megabytes in 10 seconds to 472 bytes.
Exactly.
That's Incredibles.
And now I'm going, the Incredibles. And here we have 472 bytes playing.
Unbelievable.
Yeah, and you can jump in the movie. You can see here you have 19 views left and 29 minutes to watch.
Shut up and take my money.
And you can jump like back and forth, mute, full screen, everything.
So what does it say on the back of your shirt?
Well, people are often, when we tell about what we do, they very often say, oh, like Pied Piper, on a TV show, Silicon Valley. So we say, no, we're Play. So we put it on a shirt.
We are not Pied Piper, we're Play.
Exactly.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
But is it doing what Pied Piper claimed that they could do?
I actually think that what we're doing is much, much better. Yeah. We don't only shrink the files, we go full control over them at any given time. And, it's any type of file, it's everything.
Yeah. Unbelievable. I mean, just the first part is unbelievable. Forget about the blockchain and the permissions and the tokens and the...
Thank you.
You are patient. Deep down, you know that success takes time. Just imagine Da Vinci trying to paint the Mona Lisa in a week. Or Bill Gates developing Windows in a month. So, take this approach to the financial markets and join Etoro. Get the tools to execute smarter, more informed investment decisions. Build a portfolio to last, one brick at a time. Start now at etoro.com.
Next up, you'll notice this familiar crypto trader sponsor. Now, sponsor or not, we're talking to Yoni Asya. He's the head of Etoro, and he built this trading platform into an $800 million empire. They're also now developing a blockchain-based wallet and exchange.
Yoni, you're no stranger to our show. Tell us about how crypto is performing on the Etoro platform.
Well, generally, you can't avoid the fact that we're deep in bear territory. I think every time we meet and talk, we're very optimistic. I'm a founder, so by definition, I'm optimistic. But after 9 months in bear territory, it's clear to say that we're deep in the red. We still see a lot of hodling in Etoro. So a lot of people who bought either pre-November, December, so pre the crypto bubble, and also during the crypto bubble, they're still holding. The difference, obviously, is the dollar valuation of that crypto. We've been adding more cryptos to Etoro, both pairs with other currencies to one another, and generally we're seeing a lot of interest in sort of the smaller ones, not necessarily Bitcoin and Ethereum, but basically the IOTA, Stellar, EOS, etc.
Now, Etoro is a hybrid platform. It allows you to trade stocks and it allows you to trade crypto. What's the split, and what was the split between stocks and crypto back in December last year?
Until 2017, we've seen only about 2% of our users trading crypto. That went up to 90%, and a significant amount of the revenues, majority of the revenues, December, January, coming from crypto. But that's sort of settled, and today crypto is about 20% of the business.
Now, how many account holders are strictly crypto account holders? So guys that have no interest in stocks, bonds, commodities, only want to trade crypto. So
what we've seen is quite interesting. We've seen at least 70% of the users who come in to trade crypto have actually shifted into trading other assets as well. That's also the advantage of the Etoro platform, where you can actually have a portfolio of stocks and cryptocurrencies and other assets as well. Our general business has actually significantly grown because we had more users coming into crypto, and then they started trading stocks, commodities, indices, etc. So the stock trading part of Etoro actually grew more than 1,000% over the past 18 months.
So Yoni, on a previous panel we had you on, you said that we need people to start using Bitcoin, sending Bitcoin. I think implying that if we want crypto to succeed, we actually need adoption. Are you one of these people that say we need more wallets in people's hands, or do we think we need the institutions in crypto?
I definitely think we need more wallets and more people owning Bitcoin and being able to send and receive Bitcoin and use it as a means of payment, as a store of value. I mean, it's not meant to be just another financial asset eventually under the same infrastructure of the existing financial services industry, which is a hyper-local, very concentrated industry. I think it's important for institutionals to eventually come in, but mass adoption and the understanding that you can own your own financial assets and can move them whenever you want, wherever you want, I think that's key for the entire crypto community. From a long-term vision perspective, I believe we're eventually going to see somewhat of a convergence between the traditional finance industry and the blockchain industry. We believe in tokenization of all financial assets.
Now, Etoro is a big success story here in Israel. I mean, you must be one of the bigger success stories here in Israel. For our viewers who don't know Etoro, tell us a little bit about Etoro, where you operate.
Sure. So Etoro today is the largest social trading network in the world. We have over 10 million registered users from more than 100 countries, where we enable people to trade stocks, commodities, indices, cryptocurrencies, and everyone can actually see, follow, and automatically copy other traders.
All other traders, or is that an option?
They can actually automatically copy all other traders that enable you to see what they're doing. So you can actually see the track record of every single trader on Etoro. So as I mentioned, I'm not a good short-term trader myself. So I prefer on copying other people and being able to also copy people who trade, for example, German stocks or French stocks or industries that I'm not familiar with.
Now, this Etoro, was it founded by you? And give us maybe some of the background, the story.
Sure. So I founded Etoro together with my older brother, Ronen. I always used to trade. I started trading when I was about 13. So I got sort of sucked into the market and sort of fell in love in the markets during the dot-com bubble.
Well, your grandfather was one of the founders of one of the big banks in Israel, so it should be in your blood.
Yes, it's in our blood, finance and technology. I'm awfully proud.
Why don't you take us for a walk around?
Sure.
Let's go.
Cool. So this is my grandfather, Yehuda Asya, who founded a bank in Switzerland back in the 60s before there were computers. Now that's real hardcore blockchain stuff.
So banking's in your blood here.
Yeah.
Let's go through the office. It's a pretty impressive operation. I haven't been here before. Obviously, I've heard all the stories. Wow, what's this?
So this is all of our account managers. So we have we're serving people from 100 different countries. So each of these desks usually speak a specific language. So this is our German desk. And you can basically see here all of the desks from all over the world. So unlike a lot of the companies in the crypto space, we actually provide high level of customer service to our customers. So anybody who actually deposits $5,000 gets a personal account manager where they can communicate about the markets. A lot of the people here are actually licensed professional in capital markets.
So it's interesting that you didn't outsource a function like this to, say, India.
No, so these are all here basically market professionals. They're all trained in capital markets. And of course, you have people here speaking Arabic, French, Italian, Spanish, German, English. We have similar ones in China, speaking all of the Southeast Asian languages.
Awesome, wow, it's certainly very impressive. This here is one of the most underrated analysts in the whole of crypto. This is Matti Greenspan, and I actually finally met him face to face.
It's a pleasure.
Come in the photo.
Yeah, Yoni. There we go.
Awesome.
So here's the blockchain team. You want to see the wallet? So we've actually set up now new departments in Etoro to develop our new blockchain wallet, which is going to be launched shortly. So we have a lot of the blockchain developers both sitting here and then people developing the exchange, which is going to be launched later this year as well.
And when is that launching?
Later this year, November, December.
This is Yoni Asa, and he's taking crypto very seriously.
To understand how intertwined the Israeli ecosystem is, we went up 61 floors to the tallest building in Israel to see what Orbs are all about.
So Daniel, I've been on a tour of Israel looking for the biggest blockchain investors, the blockchain kings of Israel. And your name keeps coming up, and specifically around Orbs and this huge raise that you guys did. What is Orbs? How much money did you raise?
Orbs is a blockchain for large consumer applications. We raised $118 million.
And the protocol itself, you're talking about, you said large-scale enterprise protocol. What does that actually mean?
It means that if we look at what happened over the last 8 years, Bitcoin, and over the last 4 years, Ethereum, I think what has been established is the L1, layer 1 of blockchain, which is the decentralized layer, the liquidity layer. And 2019 is really going to be focused on the L2, who can build the production grade environment for real dApps and usability. And we think Orbs is one of the main blockchains for these categories.
And what are the components that you require to build these applications?
The main comparison that everybody needs to be looking at is AWS. Amazon Cloud Services is today the top provider for applications. So what Orbs is trying to do is to build the AWS for decentralized applications, blockchain as a service. And if you think about AWS, they do two main utilities. One is storage. Blockchain is immutable ledger. And the second thing is to run CPU, which is very similar to computational power. So these are the things we want to provide with Orbs, a storage solution and smart contract, but to be as scalable and as efficient as AWS. How does AWS do it? They have a very fast accounting layer for storage and CPU, but they actually do the settlement on a very stupid system, but still that works very well, which is the US dollar, because they do the payment just once a month, which is very predictable for applications. So Orbs is going through the same design process. Orbs is the first hybrid blockchain that utilizes the best of the two worlds. We have a very fast accounting consensus algorithm that is named Helix that we designed from the ground up, but we actually do the settlement using Ethereum, which I think today is the top blockchain for liquidity, decentralization, and the most dApps are built on top of it.
Now you've raised a ton of money. I mean, you've raised over $100 million. How long till we see Orbs working?
So Orbs is already working today. The blockchain is live. We haven't distributed the tokens yet. V1 is live. In our simulation, we're already pushing more than 1,000 transactions a second. We're working with very large design partners. V2 is aimed to go live before the end of the year, and that's the more production grade. Already the smart contract capability, and we're aiming to drive transaction throughput to Visa, MasterCard scale, 25,000 transactions a second. And so that's by the end of the year with the token distribution. So I think by the end of the year, you already will see live apps working on Orbs.
And guess what? They are fully funded and already working with real clients. Boom. You take it to your people. It seems they dig it.
So why don't you show me around?
Yeah, I would love to.
Let's do it.
Cool. So the first thing you notice, obviously, we are on the 61st floor. This is the highest building in Israel. They're already designing a higher building in Ramat Gan, but currently this building has the record. In front of us is actually a military base, a very famous one. This is the Kiryat. A lot of the command leaders of the IDF, they sit here. From here, they manage a lot of the day-to-day.
Awesome. Let's see the offices.
Sure. Okay, so I'll show you where Orbs and Hexa sit. Yes. So a lot of the engineers, they sit in this area. A couple of the meeting rooms. Oriel, my brother in red, sitting over there. He leads a lot of the strategic work in Orbs regarding partnership, business development. We have very strong partners in Korea, in Japan.
And these are all engineers?
Most of them. Where you see an actual big screen is engineer sitting behind, and Tal is a very unique person. He's also one of the co-founders of the group.
Hey, nice to meet you. Nice to meet you.
And I think he's very uniquely positioned because he has a very strong background from the A200 unit, but he also worked, in the leading space, in the consumer space, leading the mobile engineering at Wix.
The A200 unit is a specialized unit in the army, right, for intelligence?
Exactly. He's the mastermind behind a lot of the architecture.
Oh, wow.
Yeah,
You've built a real empire. And now it's time to go to alignment.
We went back to Moshe's Singularity, this time to meet Roy, one of his lead funders. This time we wanted to get some real funding insight.
So Roy, Alignment Group, you guys are the investment arm of the Singularity establishment. What are the type of investments that you guys make?
What we like to feel as the common denominator is an infrastructure perspective. We believe the real opportunity right now is to help propagate blockchain by improving the user experience and bringing it to the mainstream.
Let's talk about the investments that you're making outside of the stable that is currently inside this building. Mm-hmm. What else are you investing in?
The way we like to look at it is that we invest in entrepreneurs. We're very pro-entrepreneur. We're very quick with our decision making. The diligence we perform is on the team and the quality of the team, and often we invest in serial entrepreneurs and teams with serial technologists. So take, for example, a company that we're very happy and proud of is Platin. They're developing a proof of location protocol. We believe that is the type of opportunity we should be supporting both with capital raising and value-added services in terms of marketing, business development, and these sorts of things.
What are your other investments?
We have a number of things. Another company we're very excited about is called Space Mesh. It's developing an OS for the blockchain, if you will. There's Orbs, I'm sure you've heard of. We're also invested in a variety of more passive type of investments, such as Cardano, such as Telegram, Tezos, EOS, and these sorts of companies.
What other investments excite you?
Another one that really excites us is Dawn. What Dawn is doing is taking a security approach to real estate. And what's exciting there is not just the general opportunity that they're going about, but the team that we can help build that business out.
If I understand correctly, one of your ventures is to start a blockchain-only TV channel.
Correct. What we are actually building is a new blockchain-based media organization with a TV channel at its core. What we believe is the opportunity is to bring blockchain to the mainstream audience by normalizing the subject matter and the space in general through the companies and the people building it.
So this TV channel that you guys are starting, is it something that we can expect in the near future?
But yes, you can go to blocktv.com and you can sign up and we'll notify you when we're launching.
Roy, it's such a pleasure having you on Crypto Trader.
Likewise.
A few floors up, Roy and Singularity help fund Stoxx, a decentralized prediction market charting a new course with crypto.
Good, let me show you, Amir. This is our marketing team. I'm working on the next features, getting us more users to the more than 200,000 that we already have. And this is our development team working on the next version with major improvements to the application and system.
How many developers work here? How many engineers?
We have about 12 developers working here.
Okay.
Cool features, improving the UI, improving the blockchain and connections. This is our product and UI team.
Awesome. Well, let's go sit down.
Yeah, sure.
So Yossi, before we start, you said something like 200,000 users.
That's correct.
Is there a DApp that has 200,000 users?
Not that I'm aware of.
So, are you guys a DApp?
We are a DApp in some ways. We're not 100% connected to the blockchain. We're not a completely decentralized DApp, but we have connection to the blockchain where we think there's a value to being on the blockchain.
Okay, so what exactly is Stoxx?
Stoxx is a blockchain prediction markets platform. It's Ethereum based and open source where anybody using a skill and knowledge can generate this portion of stake by predicting the outcome of future events.
Okay, prediction markets, I think the most famous token in prediction markets is certainly the Ogre platform with the rep token. What are prediction markets and why are they so important?
Prediction markets are exchange-based markets intended for trading the outcome of future events, where actually the probability of is what the crowd thinks will be the probability of the event to occur, actually.
So it's like wisdom of the crowd?
It is the wisdom of the crowd. It refers to the idea that a collective group of people are smarter than any expert individual when it comes to problem solving.
Okay, so let's talk about an actual example of a prediction market that actually is taking place on the Stoxx platform today.
We have predictions open from almost any imaginable category. We have a tournament running for the US Open at the moment, where so far 70% of the crowd is right. We've had tournaments about the World Cup and Wimbledon. And we have prediction about specific companies, how much are they going to raise during their ICO, since we're related to the crypto community.
Okay, so who is actually using the Stoxx platform today?
Our 200,000 users are consistent mainly from the blockchain community, because we're working with a token, the STX token, which is the engine behind Stoxx. So in order to work on Stoxx, you need to have the STX token. So most of our community is from the crypto one, but we're slowly reaching out to the masses. So that's where we can bring the numbers, the 200,000. Then not all of them are from the crypto community.
Now, you guys did a token, a sale, or a capital raise last year.
Correct.
How much money did you raise?
We raised 148,000 ethers.
148,000 ETH. And
which were equivalent to $34 million at the day.
Did you cash out the ETH for US dollars?
Some of it, of course, that's what we pay for the rent here.
Okay, awesome. Any plans to decentralize?
We're walking slowly with the infrastructure. As the infrastructure moves forward in the technology, we are constantly looking for solutions for being more and more decentralized.
And if our viewers want to get more information about Stoxx and maybe even participate in some prediction markets, where can they go?
Well, you can just come to our website, Stoxx.com.
That's Stoxx, S-T-O?
S-T-O-X.com.
That's Stoxx.com.
Stoxx.com.
Yes, it's been a great pleasure having you.
Thank you very much for having me here.
Next, a few floors down, and this time it's Saga, a stable coin that various VCs, including Agadas, iCapital, and Singularity, teamed up to fund, starting with its founder playing the piano in his office. Music to my ears. Etoro, before I came here, they warned me not to use the word stablecoin when I'm talking about Saga. Why not?
So we're not that touchy about it, but for me, a stablecoin is a technical solution. It's a way of tokenizing an existing currency, and by all means, it's not a currency.
So in crypto, we're faced with, at the moment, a few different types of coins. I think the first type of coin is the US dollar tether, and that really is a stable coin,
yes,
or should be a stable coin. Then you've got all these experiments in creating a new type of, I hate to use the word stable coin, but a new kind of currency that isn't pegged against the US dollar, but displays characteristics of a more stable type of currency. And that's projects like Terra, like Reserve, and like Saga. Okay, so what are you building at Saga?
The problem we are trying to solve is the one of a global currency. In the past 30 or 40 years, we are witnessing an ever-growing scope of a global economy, of more and more nationless products and nationless services. But we're still using only national currencies, sovereign currencies. And we believe there is merit, and history is quite consistent in showing that when there is a new scope of an economy, it requires a store of value and a medium of exchange. And that's exactly what we're trying to do.
So let's talk about Saga and how Saga actually works.
So Saga is built on three main pillars. The first one is the acknowledgement that we are first and foremost a monetary startup before we are a technology startup, because we're trying to solve a monetary problem, which is to create a global currency. And therefore, this startup is led by an interdisciplinary effort of economists, physicists, mathematicians, and technology experts as well. Two main issues, the two remaining pillars. One is the one of volatility, where we're actually copying central banks in the past 100 years and modeling it algorithmically on-chain. We have developed a model of a variable fractional reserve, which means that when we go out, we are fully backed by the SDR, which is a basket of currencies determined by the IMF. And so Saga doesn't have an intrinsic value because it doesn't enjoy trust to have an intrinsic value. But as more Sagas are being produced, and the market determines the production of Saga, it's a fully elastic supply of money model, then the reserve ratio decreases gradually, like a debasement of a currency, in favor of the appreciation of Saga, which would be slower than the appreciation of...
So it's very similar to the old days when we used to back 100% of the currency in gold.
Right.
You're saying that instead of gold, it's a basket of currencies as defined by the IMF.
Right. Yeah.
And as people form more trust, so does the system become less and less
dependent on this currency.
Now, when you talk about this basket of fiat currencies, where is the basket of fiat currencies being stored?
So that's an important element as well. It is being stored in regulated banks Currently, our home jurisdiction is Switzerland, and so we are supervised by FINMA, by the financial regulatory authority in Switzerland. And those banks are the ones that are attesting for how much they hold in reserve on a daily basis. No one is supposed to trust us that we actually hold a reserve.
Can I invest in the Saga project? Is there an avenue for investors to buy into the Saga project?
The way we did it is that we created a second token called Saga Genesis, which you can consider to be a pre-modeled call option on the Saga. So anyone holding a Saga Genesis can send it to the contract and get Saga instead. How many Sagas will he get? That depends on the size of the Saga economy. Currently, if our investors send their tokens to the contract, they'll get 0 Saga, because as long as Saga is 100% backed by currency, we don't have anything to distribute them. But then as the economy grows, then the conversion ratio of Saga Genesis to Saga grows with it, and it's capped by 15 times the Saga, because case we succeed in being a global complementary currency, we don't want our investors to be the controller of such an economy.
So you've capped your investor returns at 15x?
At 15x on the Saga appreciates as well, so it's their actual return is higher, but their additional return to the one of Saga holders is capped to 15x.
Yeah. Etoro, thank you very much. It's been a great pleasure.
Thank you.
Thank you. It's been a long and winding road covering all things Israel. And to wind down, we're in Jaffa, the old city of Tel Aviv, to meet the much talked about ChromaWay, a project who's distributed worldwide, but their founder came to meet me for a cup of coffee. After spending my days here in Tel Aviv going from office to office and meeting the most exciting blockchain projects, I decided I need some time out and to catch a cup of Arab coffee in the old city of Jaffa. I'm here with Or Perlman, who's the COO and founder of ChromaWay. Oh, it's so good to see you. Tell us what ChromaWay actually is.
Well, so we started really early back in the early days 2014. And most recently we developed a new kind of blockchain which we call Chromapolis. And what we basically do is combining relational databases with blockchains.
Now, a lot of our viewers aren't very technical people. So what does that mean in non-technical speak, to combine relational databases with blockchains?
Well, it gives us a lot of good advantages in terms of other competitive platforms. For example, you don't need to learn any kind of Solidity in order to develop on top of our blockchain. You only need to use SQL, which is basically 80% of the developers in the world actually know how to develop it. So it reduces the lower barrier to entry to the market in a developer point of view. We can host a lot of data in terms of on-chain data. So basically we can, dApps that want to be developed on top of our platform can be actually be hosted in the entire backend of their app on top of us. That's two. Third, there is a big problem in blockchains today where you cannot search on the blockchain, you cannot do normal features that any kind of database does. And we are solving this with our platform, so you can actually do a lot of nice database features automatically without any tooling or layers or whatever.
So you can store much more data on the blockchain now without storing it off-chain, which is what most companies are actually doing.
Correct.
And that allows you to search and to perform a whole lot of functions which ordinarily you can't do on the chain.
Correct.
Yeah. Now, raising money in this market must be an absolute nightmare. Are you guys managing to raise money?
Well, we did, luckily, but that's mainly as well because of our history in the space. As well, because as you know, we are coming really old as well, my CTO and the team as well, coming from the old color coins days, which was kind of like the first way to issue ERC20 on top of Bitcoin, the first way to issue any kind of assets at all. So we have a track record as well of actually implementing software in the blockchain world, and we have and we actually developed our technology based on what our customer actually needs. So we know what enterprises want, and that is why we did it.
And when can we expect to see some kind of testnet or mainnet?
So testnet comes next month, and mainnet is coming in around the November, December, around those dates.
Okay, now if our viewers want more information about your project, where can they go?
Chromapolis.com.
So I'm here with Adrian Bashuk. He's one of the producers of CNBC Crypto Trader, but also a long-time journalist covering war zones and disaster areas. And he's here to help us look for real-world adoption of blockchain.
Yeah, Ron, I'll be focusing on blockchain use cases. So right now in Tel Aviv, the DLD Tech Conference is going on. We've got innovators from around the globe who are here focused on technology.
So who are we talking to?
We're going to be talking to the accelerator program of the UN World Food Program. We're here in Tel Aviv, but I think it's important to take a wider look at the region of the Middle East in general, where the opportunity to implement blockchain is so much greater.
Is that what we can expect?
Absolutely. We're going to take you to the Zatari refugee camp in Jordan, where you're going to see they've built their own blockchain on top of Ethereum and are issuing payments to refugees. So as part of our quest to find blockchain in use in the field, we're talking with the World Food Program's accelerator. So he'll tell us what is going on in Jordan.
So Building Blocks is WFP's implementation of blockchain technology. And what we're using it in is in our cash-based transfers activities, and that's when we provide cash to vulnerable populations. In this case, we are providing a solution on an Ethereum backend.
Walk me through the steps of how the program actually works.
Okay.
Displaced refugee is in a camp controlled by the UN, and the World Food Program has a supermarket. What happens?
When the family goes, buys the food that they need for the family, and then they go to the cashier, and in this case, they get identified using their iris of their eyes.
Right.
And
so
then,
it's ocular technology.
yeah, and then yes, and then the system validates that that's the person that has that amount of cash and whether that cash exists in their account, and then they can purchase the food for their families.
When you're talking about vulnerable populations, there's none more vulnerable than Syrian refugees that have clearly made headlines over the last number of years. How many people are we talking about being helped by blockchain in this case right now?
So right now we're supporting more than 100,000 refugees in 2 refugee camps in Jordan, Zatari and El Azraq.
And next you have projected to help even more, yeah?
Yeah, so we're planning to scale throughout Jordan, and we're also looking into other locations as the need grows.
Let's talk benefits.
Yes.
Has the World Food Program saved money by implementing this?
In this case, we have seen saving of costs because we are changing the way that we work with the bank. So we still use the bank. The bank is not totally out of the process.
Record keeping, for example.
Of course, yes, and record keeping is super important. So for us, we can see every time a transaction happens, there's a hash on the blockchain, and it's immutable, and it also is real time, and which is usually very good for us because we can track it, and we can make sure the privacy of the information. So yeah.
Now, Ron, our host, as you know, is from South Africa, and he's always said that it's Africa and the impoverished and the unbanked that really need the blockchain. So shout out to Ron on that. And that is true, that it is the unbanked that maybe could be banks using a prototype like this, yeah?
Well, I think we're also looking into diverse use cases, and I think the topic of unbanked or digital identity is a topic that is very, let's say, discussed quite a lot, but I think there's also still a lot of homework to be done and to find what is the right solution.
Now we have a special call out to any devs out there, especially part of the accelerator in the World Food Program. What are you looking for? You're open to startups, yeah?
Yeah, so we're looking for startups from all around the world that have innovations relevant for our operations to end global hunger. So whether you're a startup looking into supply chain, blockchain, artificial intelligence, drone, emergency response. We really are very operational.
So we've met a lot of devs at a lot of conferences and heard a lot of hype. We're issuing you a challenge. So if you want to make a difference, apply to innovation.wfp.org to put blockchain in action.
That was a real whirlwind tour of Israel. We saw some amazing projects and had a fantastic time. But now it's time for us to fly to Singapore to cover consensus. Until next week, I'll be on Twitter at CryptoManRun, and you should trade well, my friends.